Captain Dongmin Lee watched the stars through the front window of his cargo ship. The Morning Star was not the biggest ship in space, but it was fast and reliable. For 15 years, Dongmin had carried supplies between the human colonies. Food, medicine, tools, and messages from families. It was quiet work, but he liked it. Today felt different. His communication system kept picking up strange signals. Static and broken words in languages he did not know. Then complete silence from places that should be talking. Computer, try to contact New Busan Colony again, Dongmin said. No response from New Busan Colony. Last contact was 48 hours ago. The computer replied in its calm voice. Dongmin felt cold fear in his stomach. New Busan was home to over 2 million people. They grew food for 12 other colonies. They never went silent for more than a few hours. He changed course toward New Busan. The journey would take 6 hours. During those hours, his communication system stayed quiet. No signals from Haven's Rest. No messages from Prosperity Station. 3 colonies, all silent. Dr. Yoonji Park had been working in her lab when the attack started. She was a plant scientist who helped make better crops for the colony. She loved her work and the peaceful life on New Busan. The colony had wide green fields, clean cities, and happy families. Then the sky caught fire. The ships came from nowhere. Huge dark vessels that looked like giant insects made of black metal. They moved wrong, like they bent the space around them. The colony's defense systems tried to fight back, but the weapons just bounced off the alien ships. The bombardment lasted 3 hours. Every major city was destroyed. The farms burned. The spaceport melted. Eunji watched from her underground lab as her world died above her. When the bombing stopped, the aliens landed. Eunji had never seen anything like them. They looked like walking crystals with too many arms. They moved together like parts of one giant creature. They spoke to each other without making sounds. These creatures, the Vorthak, did not just want to win. They wanted to hurt. They hunted down every person they could find. Men, women, children, old people. It did not matter. They killed some quickly. Others they took away in metal cages. Yoonji hid in her lab for 2 days. She had food and water, but she knew it would not last. Through her security cameras, she watched the aliens search every building. They were getting closer. On the 3rd day, she saw a human ship in the sky. It was small and careful, staying far from the alien vessels. Yoonji managed to boost her communication system just enough to reach it. When Dongmin got Yoonji's signal, he almost cried. A survivor, he quickly steered his ship closer to the planet, staying behind the moon to hide from the alien ships. "This is Dr. Yoonji Park," came the weak voice through the static. "New Busan Colony is gone. They killed everyone. They took the children. Oh God, they took the children. Doctor, this is Captain Lee. I'm here to help. Where are you?" "Underground Lab, Sector 7. But don't come down. They're everywhere. They're hunting for people like animals." Dongmin watched his scanner. The alien ships were huge, bigger than anything humans had ever built. There were 12 of them orbiting the planet like metal moons. "Doctor, I need you to record everything you can. What they look like, how they fight, what weapons they use. Send it to me." For the next hour, Yoonji used her lab's cameras to record the aliens. She sent pictures of their ships, their weapons, and their soldiers. Most importantly, she recorded what they did to the prisoners. The Vorthak did not just kill. They tortured. They experimented. They seemed to enjoy causing pain. Yoonji's recording showed horrors that would give people nightmares for years. "Captain, I'm sending you my final recordings," Yoonji said. Her voice was getting weaker. "They found my lab. They're cutting through the door. Doctor, hold on. No, you have to go. You have to warn everyone. Tell them what happened here. Tell them the Vorthak are coming for all of us." The signal went dead. Dongmin stared at his communication system. On his computer screen, he had hours of recordings, pictures of a dead world, videos of creatures that killed for pleasure, evidence of the worst crime he had ever seen. He turned his ship away from New Busan and set course for Earth. As he traveled, he sent copies of Yoonji's recordings to every human military base, every government office, every news station he could reach. 3 hours later, the Vorthak sent their message to all human colonies. It appeared on every screen, every communication device in perfect human language. "Humans of the outer colonies. I am High Commander Vextar of the Vorthak Empire. Your colonies now belong to us. Your people are our property. You have 2 choices. Surrender completely and serve us, or die like those on New Busan, Haven's Rest, and Prosperity Station. The message showed images from the destroyed colonies, bodies in the streets, burning buildings. Humans in cages, we have studied your species. You are weak. You make peace, not war. You grow food and build homes. You are not soldiers. You will surrender because you are afraid to fight. You have 7 days to decide. The transmission ended. Across human space, people watched the message in horror. 3 colonies destroyed. Millions dead. Children enslaved. The aliens thought humans would surrender because they seemed peaceful. But in the depths of space, in hidden bases that did not appear on any map, lights began to turn on. Computers that had been sleeping for decades started working again. Weapons that existed only in secret files began to power up. Admiral Hyun-woo Kim got the call while he was fishing on a quiet planet. He was 70 years old and had been retired for 10 years. He thought his war days were over. "Admiral, we need you back," said the voice on his emergency communicator. "They attacked our colonies. They killed our people." Hyun-woo looked at his peaceful lake, then at the message from the Vorthak on his screen. He saw the destroyed cities, the dead families, the scared children in alien cages. "How many ships do we have ready?" he asked. "All of them, sir. The Dragon Protocol is active." Hyun-woo smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of an old predator who had been pretending to sleep. "Tell the Council I accept command, and send a message to the Vorthak." "What should it say, sir?" "Tell them they just made the biggest mistake in the history of the galaxy. They wanted to wake up the dragons. Now they get to meet them." The news of the colony attack spread through human space like fire. On every world, in every city, people watched the horrible recordings that Captain Dongmin Lee had brought back. They saw their friends and families murdered. They saw children taken as slaves. They saw a proud colony turned into a graveyard. But the aliens had made one big mistake. They thought humans were weak because they chose peace. They did not understand that choosing peace and being unable to fight were very different things. Admiral Hyun-woo Kim stood in the command center of the hidden military base on Titan. The base was built inside the moon itself, invisible to outside scanners. He had not been here for 10 years, but everything was exactly as he left it. The walls were lined with screens showing star maps and ship positions. Officers hurried back and forth preparing for something the galaxy had never seen. "Report," Hyun-woo said to Commander So-young Choi. So-young was the best intelligence officer in human space. For 20 years she had been watching alien civilizations, learning their secrets, preparing for this day. "The Vorthak Empire controls 43 star systems," she said, pointing to a large map. "They have conquered 12 different species in the past century. Their pattern is always the same. Fast attack, total destruction, complete surrender. How many ships do they have? We estimate 15,000 warships of various sizes. Their technology is about 50 years behind what they think is our best." Hyun-woo smiled. "What they think is our best?" "Sir, they have no idea what we've really been building." General Tae Hyun-yoon entered the command center. He was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. He had spent his entire life preparing for this moment. The day humanity would have to show its true face. "Admiral, the Human Colonial Council has voted. Full military authorization. All protocols are active. Even the Dragon Protocol, especially the Dragon Protocol." Hyun-woo nodded. The Dragon Protocol was humanity's greatest secret. For 300 years, since humans first traveled to the stars, they had been building hidden bases, secret shipyards, and weapons that could destroy planets. They pretended to be peaceful farmers and traders while secretly becoming the most dangerous military force in the galaxy. Dr. Min-ho Seo was already waiting in the secure laboratory deep beneath the base. He was the man who designed humanity's most terrible weapons, weapons so powerful that just building them was dangerous. "Doctor, how long until the Dragon fleet is ready?" Hyun-woo asked. 6 hours for the first wave, 12 hours for full deployment. "Admiral, are you sure about this? Once we use these weapons, every species in the galaxy will know what we really are. They attacked our children, Doctor. They made that choice for us." On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Woo Jin Kang was preparing his stealth fighter for a reconnaissance mission. The Ghost Dragon was invisible to every scanner the aliens had. It could travel through space without leaving any trace. Woo Jin's job was to spy on the Vorthak forces and find out exactly what they were planning. The Ghost Dragon slipped through space like a shadow. Woo Jin watched as Vorthak ships moved between the destroyed colonies. They were building something. Huge structures that looked like metal spiders spread across the ruins of human cities. "Command, this is Ghost Dragon," Woojin said into his radio. "The Vorthak are building prison camps on our worlds. They're planning to use our colonies as slave labor centers." "How many prisoners?" came Admiral Kim's voice. "From what I can see, maybe 100,000 humans are still alive. They're being worked to death building Vorthak bases." Hyunwoo felt his anger grow like fire in his chest. It was not enough that the aliens had destroyed the colonies. Now they were torturing the survivors. Ghost Dragon returned to base. "It's time to begin." Colonel Ji Hinam was checking her equipment when the call came. She led the most elite special forces unit in human military. Her soldiers could appear anywhere, fight anyone, and disappear without a trace. They had trained for decades for missions like this. "Colonel, we have a rescue mission," General Yoon said. 100,000 human prisoners across 3 star systems. The Vorthak think their camps are secure. Ji-hai smiled. "General, secure is a relative concept. When do we leave?" Now across human space, the hidden shipyards came to life. For 3 centuries, humans had been building these ships in secret. They were hidden inside asteroids, under planetary surfaces, and in the empty spaces between stars. The Vorthak had never seen them because humans had been very careful to keep them secret. The ships that emerged from hiding were like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. They were not just big, they were impossibly advanced. They moved through space in ways that broke the normal rules of physics. Their weapons could destroy targets from thousands of light years away. Their shields could stop any attack. Captain Haewon Jung stood on the bridge of the Iron Dragon, one of the new ships. It was 5 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. But size was not its most impressive feature. The Iron Dragon could travel faster than light in ways that other species thought were impossible. "Captain, all systems are ready," reported her first officer. "Excellent. Set course for the Vorthak forward base in the Kepler system. Let's introduce ourselves." Back on Earth, the Human Colonial Council was meeting in emergency session. These men and women had spent their careers managing peaceful trade and scientific research. Now they were authorizing the largest military operation in human history. "Are we sure about this?" asked Council Member Park. "Once we attack, there's no going back. Every species will know what we're capable of." "They killed our people," replied Council Member Lee. "They enslaved our children. We didn't start this war, but we're going to finish it." The vote was unanimous. Meanwhile, the Vorthak High Command was celebrating their easy victory. They had destroyed 3 human colonies with minimal losses. The humans had barely fought back. Their ships were slow and weak. Their weapons were primitive. High Commander Vextar looked at his tactical display with satisfaction. In 1 week, they would attack 20 more human colonies simultaneously. The humans would surrender rather than watch more of their people die. It would be the fastest conquest in Vorthak history. "Commander, we are detecting some unusual readings from human space," reported one of his officers. "What kind of readings?" "Energy signatures we don't recognize, and, sir, there are ships appearing on our long-range scanners. Lots of ships." Vextar studied the display. Thousands of contacts were showing up throughout human territory, but that was impossible. Human intelligence said they only had a few hundred ships, all of them small and lightly armed. "Check the sensors. There must be an error." "Sir, I've run diagnostics 3 times. The readings are correct and—" "Commander, some of those ships are huge, bigger than our largest vessels." For the first time since the attacks began, Vextar felt worried. Where did they get so many ships? "Unknown, sir. But they're moving toward our positions fast." Vextar stared at the display. Maybe the humans were not as weak as they seemed. Maybe they had been hiding their true strength. But that was impossible. The Vorthak had been watching human space for years. They knew everything about human military capability. Or so they thought. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim watched the tactical display from his command ship. The Dragon fleet was fully deployed now, 3,000 ships of various sizes, all equipped with technology that most species thought was science fiction. They had spent 3 centuries preparing for this moment. "All ships, this is Admiral Kim," he said into his communicator. "The Vorthak Empire thinks we are weak. They think we will surrender because we choose peace. They are about to learn the difference between choosing peace and being unable to fight. Dragons of humanity, it's time to hunt." The first Vorthak patrol fleet disappeared without sending a distress signal. One moment, 12 warships were guarding the outer edge of their territory. The next moment, they were gone. Not destroyed, simply gone, as if they had never existed. High Commander Vextar stared at his tactical display in confusion. "What happened to Patrol Fleet 7? "Unknown, sir," replied his communications officer. "They stopped transmitting 30 seconds ago. No explosion, no emergency signals, nothing. Send scout ships to investigate." The scout ships found empty space where the patrol fleet should have been. No debris, no radiation, no sign that ships had ever been there. The only clue was a strange energy reading that their sensors could not identify. 3 light-years away, Vice Admiral Ga-Young Lee watched the Vorthak scouts through her ship's invisible hull. The Phantom Strike was humanity's most advanced stealth vessel. It could phase through matter, become invisible to all sensors, and attack from dimensions that most species did not know existed. "Target eliminated, Admiral Kim," she reported to the command ship. "The Vorthak have no idea what happened to their patrol fleet." "Excellent. Continue hunting. Let them know they're not safe anywhere." Ga-Young smiled. The Phantom Strike had weapons that worked by rewriting the laws of physics around the target. The Vorthak patrol fleet had not been destroyed. It had been edited out of reality. To the universe, those ships had never existed. On the captured colony of New Busan, Major Subin Kim led her Special Forces team through the ruins. They moved like ghosts, invisible to Vorthak sensors. Their mission was to rescue the human prisoners and gather intelligence about alien capabilities. Subin's team wore armor that adapted to any environment. In bright light, it became transparent. In darkness, it absorbed all radiation. Against energy weapons, it reflected attacks. Against physical weapons, it became harder than diamond. "Team leader, I have visual on the prison camp," whispered Sergeant Taman Park through the communicator. "Estimate 2,000 human prisoners. Heavy Vorthak guard presence." Subin studied the camp through her tactical display. The Vorthak had built it in the ruins of New Busan's capital city. Human prisoners were forced to work 18 hours a day, building alien structures with their bare hands. Many looked sick and weak. "Begin rescue operation. Remember, we want information from the guards before we eliminate them." The attack happened so fast that most Vorthak guards never realized they were under assault. Subin's soldiers appeared from nowhere, moving faster than alien eyes could follow. Their weapons fired bullets that could track targets through walls and around corners. Within 10 minutes, the entire guard force was dead or captured. The human prisoners stared in amazement as soldiers in impossible armor cut through their chains with tools that made metal simply disappear. "Who are you?" asked an elderly prisoner. "We're the rescue team," Subin replied. "You're going home." Dr. Young-Soo Park worked in his laboratory aboard the research vessel Deep Thought. His job was to study Vorthak technology and find ways to turn it against them. What he discovered amazed him. "Admiral Kim, the Vorthak use quantum entanglement for their communications," he reported. "All their ships are connected through subspace networks. If we can hack into one ship, we can hack into all of them." "How long will that take?" "Give me 6 hours." "And Admiral, their technology is much more primitive than they pretend. Most of their weapons are stolen from other species they conquered. They're not innovators. They're parasites." Young-Soo's team began the most complex hacking operation in galactic history. They did not just break into Vorthak computer systems. They rewrote the fundamental code that controlled their technology. Soon, Vorthak ships would find their own weapons turning against them. Captain Haewon-jung commanded the dreadnought Iron Dragon as it approached the main Vorthak base in the Kepler system. The base was huge, a metal structure the size of a small moon, protected by hundreds of warships. "Captain, they're demanding we identify ourselves," reported her communications officer. "Tell them we're here to deliver a message." "What message?" "Fire main cannon." The Iron Dragon's primary weapon was not just a gun, it was a device that could manipulate the structure of matter itself. When it fired, it did not send a projectile. Instead, it created a beam of pure energy that rewrote the atomic structure of everything it touched. The Vorthak base's shields absorbed the first impact. Then the shields began to change. The energy that was supposed to protect the base started eating through the station's hull like acid. Within minutes, the entire structure was consuming itself from the inside. "Impossible," whispered the Vorthak base commander as his station died around him. "Their weapons don't work that way." "Captain Young to Admiral Kim," Haewon reported. "Kepler base is neutralized. No survivors." Across Vorthak space, similar scenes played out. Human ships appeared from nowhere, struck with impossible weapons and vanished before the aliens could respond. Entire fleets disappeared. Bases were destroyed by their own defenses. Communication networks turned against their users. The Vorthak High Command tried desperately to understand what was happening. Their most secure facilities were being penetrated by enemies who seemed to walk through walls. Their most powerful weapons were being turned into tools of their own destruction. "High Commander," reported Intelligence Officer Zektor. "We have captured some data about human military capability. Sir, I think we made a terrible mistake." Vextar studied the intelligence reports. The humans had not just hidden their military strength. They had hidden the fact that they were the most advanced species in the galaxy. Their technology was centuries ahead of anything the Vorthak had ever seen. How is this possible? Our spies reported that humans were peaceful farmers and traders. Sir, I think that's exactly what they wanted us to believe. While we were watching their cargo ships and agricultural stations, they were building the most powerful war machine in galactic history. Captain Wujin Kang piloted his stealth fighter through the heart of a Vorthak fleet. The alien ships could not see him, could not track him, could not even detect that he was there. He placed small devices on their hulls, devices that would let human forces control their systems remotely. Ghost Dragon to command. I've planted control devices on 27 Vorthak vessels. Ready to activate on your signal. Wait for the signal, Ghost Dragon. We want them to see this. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim watched as reports came in from across Vorthak space. Every human military unit was exceeding expectations. The aliens were discovering that everything they thought they knew about human capabilities was wrong. "Admiral, we have a priority message from the Vorthak High Command," reported his communications officer. "Put it through." High Commander Vextar appeared on the main screen. His crystal-like face showed fear for the first time in his long military career. "Admiral Kim, I request immediate negotiations. We are prepared to return all human prisoners and withdraw from your territory." Hyunwoo studied the alien commander. "Commander Vexistar, you made two critical errors. First, you attacked our civilians. Second, you assumed we were weak because we chose peace. We were misinformed about your capabilities. This conflict was based on faulty intelligence." "No, Commander. This conflict was based on your decision to commit genocide against human colonists. You didn't just attack our military. You murdered our families." Vextar's image flickered as his communication ship came under attack. "Admiral, please. We can reach an agreement." "We already have an agreement, Commander. You wanted to awaken the dragons. Now you get to face the consequences." The transmission ended. Colonel Jihinam led her special forces in a rescue mission on Haven's Rest colony. They had saved 15,000 human prisoners and captured detailed intelligence about Vorthak operations. What they learned changed everything. "Admiral, the Vorthak have done this before," Jihai reported. 12 other species in the past century. Same pattern, fast attack, total destruction, mass enslavement. And sir, they're planning to hit 20 more human colonies next week. Hyunwoo felt cold fury in his chest. The aliens were not just invaders. They were serial genocidal killers who had been murdering civilizations for over 100 years. "Colonel, are our people safe? All rescued prisoners are en route to secure locations." "But Admiral, there's something else. The Vorthak have detailed plans for enslaving the entire human species. They want to use us as workers to build their next invasion fleet. That's not going to happen. Signal all units. Operation Dragon's Fury is now active." Across human space, the largest military operation in galactic history began. Thousands of ships moved toward Vorthak territory. Weapons that had been theoretical for decades were powered up and prepared for use. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when humanity stopped pretending to be harmless. Fleet Admiral Jae Sung Choi led the Deep Strike fleet through dimensions that most species did not know existed. His ships traveled through folded space, moving faster than light without using normal engines. They appeared in the heart of Vorthak territory before the aliens even knew they were coming. "Admiral, we're detecting massive human fleet movements," reported the Vorthak sensor operator on their capital ship Dominion. High Commander Vextar looked at the tactical display in horror. Hundreds of human ships were appearing throughout their empire, not from the edges but from inside their most secure systems. "How did they get past our detection grids?" "Sir, they didn't go around our defenses. They went through dimensions our sensors can't monitor." The human Deep Strike fleet began systematically destroying Vorthak infrastructure. They did not just attack military targets. They targeted the supply lines, communication hubs, and industrial centers that kept the Vorthak Empire functioning. Within hours, alien forces across dozens of star systems found themselves cut off from command and running out of supplies. On the planet Vorthak Prime, Colonel Yejin Huang activated her psychological warfare campaign. Her team had studied Vorthak society for months, learning their fears and weaknesses. Now they used that knowledge as a weapon. Human transmitters, invisible to alien detection, began broadcasting throughout Vorthak space. The messages were not threats or demands. They were simple facts about human military capability, broadcast in every alien language. People of the Vorthak Empire, the broadcasts said, "Your leaders told you that humans were weak. They lied. Humans have been preparing for this war for 300 years. Your fleets are already defeated. Your bases are already destroyed. Your empire is already finished." The broadcasts included video evidence, recordings of Vorthak fleets vanishing without a trace, images of their most secure bases being destroyed by impossible weapons. Proof that the species they thought was helpless had been hiding technology beyond their understanding. But the most effective part of the broadcasts was the truth about Vorthak history. Yejin's team had uncovered records of all the civilizations the Vorthak had destroyed. They broadcast the names of extinct species, the dates of destroyed worlds, the numbers of murdered civilians. "Your empire is built on genocide," the broadcasts continued. 12 species destroyed. Billions of innocent people murdered. You followed leaders who made you into mass killers. Now you face judgment. Across Vorthak territory, rebellions began. Species that had been enslaved for generations learned that their oppressors were vulnerable. Planets that had been forced to serve the Empire declared independence. The Vorthak found themselves fighting civil wars on 100 worlds, while human forces destroyed their military. Dr. Seung-ho Lim worked aboard the terraforming ship World Shaper. His original job was to make planets suitable for human life. Now he was doing the opposite, making Vorthak worlds uninhabitable. "Doctor, the Vorthak fortress world of Granite 7 has refused to surrender," Admiral Kim informed him. "The planet is too heavily defended for direct assault." "Understood, Admiral." Beginning environmental modification. Seung-ho's team used technology that could change the basic properties of a planet. They did not destroy Granite 7. They simply made it impossible to live there. The atmosphere became too thick to breathe. The gravity increased until buildings collapsed. The temperature dropped below the freezing point of water. Within 6 hours, every Vorthak on the planet was evacuating. Their fortress, which had taken decades to build, was abandoned without a single shot being fired. World Shaper to Admiral Kim. Granite 7 is evacuated. The planet is uninhabitable but undamaged. It can be restored when the war is over. Captain Min Jung-oh commanded the carrier Storm Dragon as it entered the Vorthak home system. Her ship carried 500 fighters, each one equipped with technology that made physics seem like a suggestion rather than a law. "Captain, the Vorthak home fleet is moving to intercept," reported her tactical officer. 300 ships including their flagship Eternal Dominion. Launch all fighters. Show them what human pilots can do." Min Jung's fighters moved through space in formations that should have been impossible. They appeared to be in multiple locations at the same time. They flew through solid objects without taking damage. They fired weapons that struck targets in the past, destroying ships before the battle even began. The Vorthak pilots, who had been bred for warfare over thousands of years, watched in terror as human fighters defied every rule of combat they had ever learned. Enemy ships appeared from nowhere, struck with impossible accuracy, and vanished before return fire could reach them. "This is impossible," whispered Vorthak ace pilot Zarnath as he watched his squadron disappear around him. "They're fighting like they control reality itself." That was exactly what they were doing. The battle for the Vorthak home system lasted 3 hours. When it ended, the alien home fleet was completely destroyed. The Storm Dragon had not lost a single fighter. In the depths of space, other alien species watched the war with growing fear and amazement. The Galactic Federation Council held emergency meetings as they realized that humanity had been hiding its true nature for centuries. "They're not explorers and farmers," said Council Member Jala of the Centauri Republic. "They're apex predators who chose to appear harmless." "The question is," replied Council Member Tavara of the Stellar Alliance, "what do we do now? If humans can destroy the Vorthak Empire this easily, what does that mean for the rest of us?" Some species began quietly reinforcing their own defenses. Others sent diplomatic messages to human space requesting friendly relations. A few started planning their own surrender, just in case humanity decided to conquer the entire galaxy. But most of them simply watched in awe. As a species they had ignored, demonstrated technology that seemed like magic. Back in Vorthak space, High Commander Vextar made his final desperate move. He sent a message to Admiral Kim that would either save his species or doom them forever. Admiral Kim, we still hold 50,000 human prisoners on our homeworld. If your attacks continue, we will execute them all. The transmission was broadcast across the galaxy. Every species heard the Vorthak threat to murder innocent civilians. They waited to see how humanity would respond. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim's reply was broadcast on every frequency, in every language, to every corner of the galaxy. Commander Vextar, you have just made the worst mistake in the history of your species. You threatened our people. You attacked our families. You tried to enslave our children. And now you threaten to murder prisoners of war. The Admiral's voice was calm, but every word carried the weight of absolute judgment. We offered you the chance to surrender with honor. We gave you the opportunity to withdraw peacefully. You rejected both options. Now you will face the full might of humanity. Across human space, weapons that had never been used came online. Ships that operated outside normal physics began moving toward the Vorthak homeworld. Soldiers who could step between dimensions prepared for the final assault. You wanted to awaken the dragons, Commander. You said we were weak because we chose peace. You thought we would negotiate because we value life. You were wrong about everything. The transmission paused, and when it continued, every species in the galaxy felt a chill of primitive fear. We don't negotiate with those who threaten our children. We don't show mercy to those who commit genocide. And we don't leave threats to humanity alive to attack us again. Admiral Kim's final words would be remembered for 1,000 years. You have 6 hours to release every human prisoner unharmed. If even one of them is hurt, we will show the galaxy what happens when humanity stops holding back. The choice is yours, Commander. Choose wisely. The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy in absolute silence. In those 6 hours, species across the cosmos held their breath and waited to see what the humans would do if their ultimatum was rejected. They were about to learn that there were some lines that should never be crossed, and threatening humanity's young was the most dangerous line of all. High Commander Vextar stood in his command center on the Vorthak homeworld, staring at the countdown timer. 4 hours remained until Admiral Kim's deadline. Around him, his officers argued about what to do with the human prisoners. We should execute them now and show the humans we're not afraid, said war leader Zakmor. Are you insane? Replied intelligence officer Zektor. Did you see what they did to our fleets? They destroyed 300 ships without losing a single vessel. Their technology is beyond anything we've ever seen. Vextar watched the tactical display. Every few minutes, another Vorthak base went silent. Another fleet disappeared. Another world evacuated as human forces made it uninhabitable. His empire was collapsing faster than he could track. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Supreme Admiral Song, reported the communications officer. Vextar had never heard of Supreme Admiral Song. Put it through. The image that appeared on the screen made Vextar step backward in shock. The human who faced him did not look angry or threatening. He looked calm, patient, and absolutely certain. It was the expression of someone who held complete power and knew exactly how to use it. Commander Vextar, I am Supreme Admiral Byung-ho Song. I command the forces that operate outside normal space-time. You have 2 hours remaining. Admiral Song, we can negotiate. We're willing to release the prisoners and withdraw from human territory. Commander, you seem to misunderstand the situation. This is not a negotiation. This is justice. Behind Song, Vextar could see ships that hurt to look at. They seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once, changing shape as they moved through space that bent around them. Admiral, what do you want? We want every human prisoner returned alive and unharmed. We want your military forces disbanded permanently. We want your empire to never again attack another species. And we want you to understand what happens when you threaten humanity's children. The transmission showed images from across Vorthak space. Human soldiers were appearing inside the most secure facilities, walking through walls as if they were made of air. Weapons were being turned against their users. Reality itself seemed to be rewriting itself around human forces. How is this possible? Vextar whispered. Commander, you made the mistake of assuming that peaceful means weak. You attacked farmers and thought you were fighting soldiers. You saw cargo ships and assumed that was our military. You watched us grow crops and build homes, and you thought that made us helpless. Song's image leaned forward. You never considered that we might choose peace because we're strong enough to make that choice. You never imagined that we might appear harmless because we're too dangerous to show our true nature. Dr. Hyojin Bei worked in the deepest laboratories of the research station Quantum Dream. Her job was to study the fundamental laws of reality and find ways to change them. Now she was preparing humanity's most terrible weapon, the ability to edit the universe itself. Admiral Song, the reality manipulation system is ready, she reported. We can target specific objects, people, or even concepts. We can make things cease to exist or make them exist differently. Doctor, I want you to demonstrate our capability. Choose a Vorthak military base and remove it from history. Hyojin selected a fortress on the edge of Vorthak space. The base had existed for 200 years. It housed 50,000 soldiers and protected an entire star system. With a few commands, she erased it from the timeline. The base did not explode. It did not collapse. It simply had never existed. The 50,000 soldiers found themselves standing in empty space, confused and afraid. Their memories of the base faded like dreams. Computer records showed no evidence that it had ever been built. Demonstration complete, Admiral. The target never existed. Captain Seo Jun Kim led the final rescue mission to the Vorthak homeworld. His team moved through dimensions that normal matter could not reach. They walked through walls, stepped around locked doors, and appeared inside cells that had been sealed with unbreakable locks. Rescue 1 to all teams, Seo Jun reported. We have visual on the prison compound. 50,000 human prisoners heavily guarded. Begin extraction, came Admiral Song's voice. Save our people. The rescue operation took 15 minutes. Seo Jun's soldiers simply stepped into each cell, took the prisoners by the hand, and stepped out again. They moved through solid matter, around energy barriers and past guard posts without being detected. The Vorthak guards found themselves staring at empty cells. 50,000 prisoners had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only confused aliens who could not understand what had happened. Admiral Song, all prisoners recovered. No casualties. They are en route to medical facilities. Dr. Yoon-ji Park was among the rescued prisoners. She had been captured after her transmission from New Busan and had spent weeks in Vorthak custody. When the human soldiers appeared in her cell like ghosts, she almost thought she was dreaming. Dr. Park, you're safe now, said the soldier who had taken her hand. We're taking you home. How did you get through their security? Ma'am, their security was designed to stop normal people using normal physics. We're neither normal nor bound by their understanding of physics. As the rescued prisoners were transported to safety, they shared their stories. The Vorthak had not just imprisoned them. They had been planning to use them as test subjects for biological experiments. The aliens wanted to understand human physiology so they could develop better ways to torture and control other species. General In Su-yang commanded the final assault on the Vorthak homeworld. His forces did not attack the planet in the traditional sense. Instead, they simply arrived as if they had always been there. One moment, the Vorthak military command was planning their defense. The next moment, human soldiers were standing in their most secure rooms, waiting politely for them to surrender. General Yang to Vorthak High Command, he announced through their own communication system. Your military forces are now under human control. Your weapons have been deactivated. Your defenses have been neutralized. You are surrounded. High Commander Vexitar looked around his command center. Human soldiers stood at every station, not threatening his officers but clearly in complete control. They had appeared from nowhere and taken over his most secure facility without firing a shot. How long have you been here? He asked. General Yang smiled. We've been here for about 30 seconds. But from your perspective, we've always been here. Time is relative, Commander. The conquest of the Vorthak homeworld was the strangest in galactic history. There was no battle, no destruction, no casualties. Human forces simply took control of everything important and politely asked the Vorthak to relocate to a small continent where they could live peacefully. You're not going to kill us? Vextar asked. Commander, we're not like you. We don't commit genocide. We don't murder civilians. We don't enslave children. We're here to make sure you never do those things again. Supreme Admiral Song appeared on every screen throughout the galaxy. His message was broadcast to every species, on every world and every language. People of the galaxy, the war is over. The Vorthak Empire has been disbanded. Their military has been neutralized. Their ability to attack other species has been permanently removed. The image showed the Vorthak homeworld, peaceful and undamaged. No cities were burning, no civilians were dead. The alien population was being relocated to areas where they could live safely without threatening others. The Vorthak people will be allowed to live in peace, under supervision, on their homeworld. They will never again possess the ability to make war on other species. They will never again threaten innocent civilians. Song's expression became serious. Let this be a lesson to every species in the galaxy. Humanity chooses peace not because we are weak, but because we are strong enough to make that choice. We appear harmless not because we cannot fight, but because we are too dangerous to show our true nature. The Admiral's final words would be remembered for millennia. We will trade with you, explore with you, learn from you, and help you. But if you attack our families, enslave our children, or commit genocide against any innocent species, you will discover what we really are. We are humanity. We are dragons, and we never forget. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, species that had been planning their own conquests quietly abandoned those plans. Civilizations that had been considering attacking their neighbors decided that peace was a better option. The lesson was clear. There were predators in the galaxy, and the most dangerous ones looked like peaceful farmers. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim returned to his quiet retirement, but his name became legend. The colonies were rebuilt, stronger and more beautiful than before. Dr. Yoonji Park returned to her research, developing new crops that would feed the growing human population. Captain Dongmin Lee continued his supply runs between the colonies. But now his cargo ship was escorted by vessels that could destroy entire fleets. The children who had been enslaved grew up in safe homes, protected by guardians who could step through dimensions. And in the depths of space, human exploration ships continued their peaceful missions. They traded and learned and built, just as they always had. But now when they arrived at a new system, other species looked at them with respect and remembered the lesson of the Vorthak Empire. Humanity had chosen to appear harmless for 300 years,